Hey, check this out. I can I can dig certain things. I can dig the need for equality in so many areas. A lot of people think my position on things is such to where I don't have any understanding. I don't have any caring, and that's not really the truth about me. I just like meaning in actions. I don't like action for the sake of action. And yes, I am still dealing with this damn bronchial thing, which sadly I'm starting to believe may be pneumonia. It's been hard for me to catch my breath. But anyway, I'm undetoured by that. And even if I go to the doctor, I'll still have to go to work anyway. So I think this can wait until Friday when I'm actually off of work. Anyway, my whole point about action with purpose as opposed to action without purpose brings me to the topic of things in our society that are co-opted either racially or through gender for absolutely no reason. And I touched on this a little bit when I was talking about, I forgot the particular topic, but I had used Nick Fury as an example. Samuel L. Jackson plays Nick Fury, and Nick Fury started out as a white guy with an eye patch, a cigar, and had graying hair on the sides, kind of like the guy from the Fantastic Four. For those of you who know anything about comic books, so far there have been several online posts that they're kind of outraged. The Witcher, apparently, and I'm not familiar with The Witcher, but one of the characters who is not African American has been turned African American for the sake of diverse representation. This happened earlier in the year when the Netflix miniseries for the Fall of Troy came on, in which a historically Greek Achilles was turned into a tall black guy. I just read on Facebook, I think the BBC was talking about, it was an article about should the gender of Santa matter. I am having a problem with needless character co-oping. And the reason that I'm having the problem is if the roles were reversed, many of the people that are being inserted, majority being, they're minorities playing characters that were historically, and whites are the minority in the world. So let's be clear about that. In the United States, the whites are the majority. So, I don't want any nitpicker to say anything, to me about my lack of knowledge on something. Everybody likes to zero in on something. Anyway, if we were to turn classically black characters or classically Asian characters, and it has happened, and there was an outcry. Michael Jackson on some TV show was portrayed by a white guy, public outcry. Bruce Lee was played by a white guy, public outcry. And the Italians in the Troy miniseries were understandably outraged. What is the point for co-opting everything as opposed to just creating something that was originally as you envisioned? What's the problem about that? I think either you don't want to or you can't. I think either you don't want to or you can't. So I try to look at things. I say this. I'm an African American man who is American fully, who tries to put himself in the shoes of other people. Sometimes I try to do that to see if I can gather the empathy necessary to understand how wrong certain situations are. That's what you do when you want to see both sides of the equation. If Malcolm X had been portrayed by a white person, we'd be mad. Hell, whites would be mad, blacks would be mad, everybody would be mad. But the willful handing over of white culture for absolutely no reason bothers me. The willful handing over of a gender-specific creation troubles me. And it doesn't trouble me because I'm pro anything. It troubles me because I don't see I don't see the purpose to it. What is the goal of turning Santa Claus into a woman? If he still hands out gifts, was it so bad that he was a man? And what is it about society right now that is saying very, and it's this subliminal message. I don't know if you people, if any of you guys ever saw the this horror movie. It was a trilogy of different. It was the same story but told from different perspectives, called The Signal. It's like this weird signal is going out and telling people to do stuff just randomly for the sake of the randomness. You know, I watch male characters get turned into strong male characters get turned into strong female characters, and they react the exact same way that the strong male character, and morally the exact same way the strong male character would. There's not a different dynamic that's brought to it. And to top this off, you know, going back to The Witcher, one of the things that this YouTube personality had pointed out, and he was clearly correct in it, is that the fan base of that particular game, of the particular show, they're white males. They're white males. The majority of people in Hollywood were not making movies to make social messages. They were just wanting to connect to their audience. I saw an article, Dungeons and Dragons is about Dungeons and Dragons being racist. You know, as a general rule, and I was an oddball too, black folks didn't play Dungeons and Dragons. There's this weird need to insert color and gender into situations, and the people that are inserting it, they're not even fans of the stuff that they're inserting themselves into. Massive amounts of women are not watching these movies in which the characters are the male characters are now being turned into women. That's the reason that Ocean's 8 failed. The majority of men that watch Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 watch it because of super badasses such as George Clooney and Brad Pitt. They don't watch it for women that are dumbed down in their sexual attractiveness. They lose interest and they go away. The same thing with Star Wars. Your contingency was white, male. And now there's this strong push to make a woke film. You've seen the term, get woke, go broke. Hey, that's turning out to be true. And there's nothing wrong with being aware, but aware, I think, looks a little bit different than this woke thing. This woke thing is, hey, there's a thing that's all male. Let's invade. Let's take it over. What are you going to do with it? Hadn't thought about it. Hey, that movie's got an all-white cast. Let's go on ahead and put some black people in it. Blacks aren't even watching the TV show or the movie. Let's just do it to do it. You know what I think greater time could be spent doing? Establishing strong male characters when needed. And for those who want more diversity in gender or race, establish new, strong, interesting characters. And like I said, the reason it hasn't been done, it's either because people can't or don't want to. I am not to the point to where I refuse to believe that they can't. But I'm also not to the point to where I stop asking the question, why are you latching on to everything and anything that you can find that doesn't include either your race or your gender? That's a lot of energy expended. I mean, I got to tell you. I find that it's much easier to build my own. Because that's exactly what those people do. And in most instances, it's not a situation where anybody's being omitted. I recently found out, and we barely have any subscribers, but the ones that we have are 35 to 45-year-old men. Apparently, men like the content that I make. I don't see a reason to give any perspective other than the perspective that I am giving. And that doesn't mean all of our subscribers are and we don't have hardly any subscribers. I mean, hell, we're new. But that doesn't mean that they're not women. It just says that the reach is men. And I think, if you're making movies and your demographics is men, if you're serving men, give the men what they want. If your audience is diverse, give your audience what they want. This willful concession of creative vision bothers me. I love Idris Elba, but they're trying desperately to cast him as the next James Bond. The novel, he was not black. And it's okay for him to not be black. It doesn't mean that I'm against you because I made a character that doesn't look like you. Why can't Idris Elba be cast in a role of a person that's unique, of an agent that's unique? Why can't people start new eras of new characters that are engaging, interesting, and badass? It boggles the mind. And I think it's a valid question to ask. If you like our content and you want to weigh in on this, because I'm very curious as to the opinions that people have on this subject. I mean, it seems like it's an open and shut case of illogical thought in motion. I mean, that's what it seems like is going on in society today, especially with this topic. If you have an opinion, feel free to weigh in. We'd like to hear from you at Empirical Planet, and hit that like button and leave a comment. That's how we grow our channel, and let others that are like-minded and open know.